Morning, everybody. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions. What's today's topic going to be? Well, on the previous video, we talked about shop towels, the blue ones, and the ones you get from Harbor Freight, or like I left you some links from another vendor. In particular, I use like a Scott brand, and sometimes, like I said, I pick up the Harbor Freight ones, and I went through the pros, the cons, and what you might consider before buying them. Okay, so then, because of the two forums I belong to in the club, we were out there with club members and we were talking about, and conversations can get a little heated because people buy things and they want to try to protect their reasoning for buying things. And we were sitting around talking anyway, and the one guy jumped up and said, yeah, but that may be true over those shop towels, but I buy, he was saying, I buy Harbor Freight rags for my shop and, for working on automobiles and stuff like that. And I didn't say anything at first, and I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, but they have a lot of the same problems. So you have to understand, like I say on all my videos, it's not whether it's good or bad. What are you using it for, and what are the limitations before you make the decision to buy them? So let's talk about the shop rags for a minute. Let me show you an advertisement. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and I made some notes, and I have them on my laptop right here. And so one of the first things is realize that even not just the shop towels, but the shop rags, okay, they're very thin. They're almost as thin as a paper towel. They're not that absorbent. I had out at the club one of the guys that had bought a package of them. He went ahead and gave me 4 or 5 of them just so that I could play around with them and see if I liked them. So I didn't find them to be all that absorbent, really. They are, but not as great as I would like. And you're paying $8.99, for 50 of them. Okay, you think that's not a bad deal. Whether it's the white ones or whether it's the red ones, they both had the same issues, because I got a sample of each just to kind of demo and play around with, and I found them both to be very similar, like in the cons part of this. But, on the pro side of it, you could sit there and think, well, I'll buy them because I'm going to use them to wipe up grease, oil, stuff like that, and I'm just going to throw them out. Okay, in that case, I can see if you're going to use them as a disposable item where, they might work out fine for you, let's say. So he said, well, I don't see why you think it is so, paper towel thin. I go, well, hold it up to the light. Take a look. You'll see almost right through it. Now, the other thing, which is similar in both of these, whether it's the red or the white, is you get a lot of this bleed off from it. Now, on the white, it's not so bad, but they do fall apart easily if you're trying to wash them. And with the red, you get both. With the white and the red, you get a lot of lint coming off, and then you get some of that dye coming off. So if you're doing any kind of a woodworking project or anything like that, this is something I would definitely not use, because it will really mess up your finish. Like I said in the previous videos, then you're going to get mad about what happens to your finish. And so it's like, well, what sheds off of it? Well, you get all this lint that comes off of it. Okay, what is it that I find that's that disturbing or whatever? Well, if I'm finishing a project and you have all this lint and you have some of that bleed off from the dye and stuff, it interferes with the finish. So it's as simple as that, in which case I would use something different. I'm not saying don't buy them. They might serve a purpose for you at your shop, but if it's for any kind of finish work, no, I wouldn't use them. No, I wouldn't mess around washing them and trying to re-clean them and stuff like that. You'll get that dye coming off in your laundry, and I don't know. I wouldn't mess with them that way. That sounds like too much trouble. Now, one thing that I find that it's kind of useful for, if you want, is use them in the kitchen. I brought home the samples that they gave me. I didn't know what I was really going to do with them, and I thought, well, they came in kind of handy to use in the kitchen. I can wipe down the counters and everything, rinse them out under the sink, lay them out, let them dry, and reuse them, or whatever you want to do. So I suppose that's one positive application rather than just soaking up oil and throwing them out. Okay, one of the comments, like on the forum, was I'm wrong. And I thought, okay, if you feel that I'm wrong, why don't you try it yourself? Go ahead and see how well it soaks up, oil or things like that, and you're going to see it does, but it's just not as absorbent as you would lead to think that it's going to be according to how it's advertised. It's just not as absorbent. I don't know what else to say. And was I wrong about the bleed off? Okay, I'll tell you what. On the red ones, go ahead and wash them out under the sink and wring them out. You'll see the red come off. There's your proof. Aside from the fact you get a lot of red fuzz, so again, you don't want to use them on anything that you're going to be doing finishing work on. They may have other applications in your shop, but I keep saying not for finishing because I got this whole slew of comments, and even out at the club where people criticize them on using them for different applications of finish, whether they were using them on metalwork or wood, it didn't matter. You get all those little red fuzzies, it interferes with the finish, and then, they all complain. Well, just understand that's one of the limitations before you buy them. And the advertisement lets you think like this is 100% cotton, so they have to be that absorbent. And I said, well, take a look at the specifications. It says it's a blend. A blend of what? I don't know, maybe a blend of polyester. And if it is a blend of polyester, polyester doesn't absorb. Now, there was one comment that was written where the guy takes the rags after he saves up a bunch of them. He takes them down to a laundromat, okay? He throws them in one of those machines and he washes them real well. And then he puts them with a tennis ball into a dryer and then dries them. I suppose that's to help to beat the fuzzies out. And then when he's done and he goes through this process, they're clean. He says he doesn't get any more fuzzies coming off and the dye is gotten rid of, and then they're just a good shop towel. Yeah, I don't know. That's something I haven't tried. It sounds like way too much trouble for me. I think the point is in buying, whether you're buying the shop towels, like in the previous video, or you're buying the shop rags, the ones that we're talking about in this video, the purpose is I want something that's absorbent, and that can help me clean up messes easily and quickly. I don't want something that has non-absorbent properties in the manufacturer or the rag or the towel. So it's kind of like, maybe not for me. I mean, I did, like I said, I got the sample, I tried them. I can see where if you're going to use them for specific things and you're aware of the limitations, you get the white ones for $9, you get 50 of them. That's not that bad as long as you understand the do's and the don'ts. Now, the red ones at $13, for the 50 of them, again, I mean, that's up to you and what you believe and what you want to do. I steer away from kind of both of those at the moment. I did tell you I do have some of the, the shop towels, and I use those, but I know what the limitations are when it comes to the rags. No, I don't. Let me show you what I do use. Okay, the reasons for those, and I know they're a little more costly, is because I know that I can use those on finish work. There are times where I'm applying like sanding sealer. It could be stain, it could be dyes that I've mixed up. It might even be a thin down shellac. It could be anything, in like I do a lot of wood turnings and stuff. And then they're real handy for that, but I don't want dye and lint coming off on my projects. So I know to go grab those. Okay, so these are like my basic thoughts on this stuff, and it seems like I'm always criticizing Harbor Freight. Well, I shop there. I go there frequently. Not all the time, but I mean, I go there frequently, and I know what I'm buying, but I also understand what the limitations are ahead of time before I go in and buy them. Why? Either because of what I read or because of the club that I belong to, where we do the show and tell stuff, and we all sit around and we bat it around. And they kind of tear it apart, they get a little critical, whatever, and we bat it around and try to figure out, is it something really worth pursuing, or is it a good discount, or is it a good buy? And like I said, I put the content together, I bring it to you. But these are my thoughts on this overall. And no, I still shop at Harbor Freight. I still will continue to answer your question. I'm not always just banging on Harbor Freight. I'm sitting there criticizing the manufacturer of the things and how they could improve the quality should they choose to. And if they don't, well, at least I understand when I go buy the product what it is that I'm facing. Okay, folks, I'm going to wrap up the video. I mean, it wasn't meant to be long. I just wanted to go over this stuff with you. Okay, from the forum and out at the club, there's a lot of times I get pushback on things that we talk about, but it's a constructive, peaceful way. And it's hard to respond where, you can get across to everybody that subscribes and that's watching the channel and stuff. But I will try, to address your comments when you make them, down below. I always try to reach out and say something back. To make it part of the video, it's like, I don't want to make it a complaint section or anything like that. But, there are some things that are constructive and some things that are just nonsense that come from some backwards hillbilly, inbred person, that comes from the shallow end of the gene pool that's in his mom's basement that wants to just be a troll. And those things I ignore, block, what have you. Now, the ones that are constructive, I had somebody jump up and say, hey, get a better microphone because the sound quality didn't sound that good. I didn't realize it when I put up the video, but when I saw his comment, that to me is constructive criticism. He was 100% right. And I had to go back to the camera because, yes, I put on a new shotgun mic onto the video camera that I have. And I guess I wasn't paying attention, and the audio came out kind of crummy. So I was like, wow. So now I'm much more careful, and I went through all the settings, and I try to improve that audio part of it. So those comments I appreciate. Somebody asked, are you just shipping and doing projects at home? Is that the way you make a living? No, a great part of me is retired. I work part-time still. I work in healthcare, and then the rest of the time, I have fun at home in the garage and I sell stuff. You see these boxes lined up here. I use them for like a little bit of like a stand for my laptop when I'm sitting out here talking to you folks. These are all denailed horseshoes. There's 50 in a box. They're ready to ship. I sell these very frequently. And some railroad spikes. It just depends. And I'll do some of the work for people, and sometimes I don't, and I just sell the raw product. Those things produce a little bit of income. Okay, not much because I'm not a huge YouTuber. But from that, I have stray cats that live here. I'll show you a couple of quick pictures. I've done this before in a previous video. Okay, so I have probably 5 or 6 of them that hang around. They don't come in the house. I take care of them with food and water. So what little bit I make, I buy food and water. Stuff like that. Take care of the stray cats, like I said, and I leave my garage door. It's got, a cracked opening. I have a section in here with a big blanket where they can come in when the weather's bad. And that's what I do. I take care of them. Okay, beyond that, what else is going on? Well, I do a lot of investment stuff in terms, that could be a whole nother video, but I take some of what I make at the end of the month and I make sure that I invest it into something that's either going to compound or that pays dividends. So I hope that answers your question. I'm the Home Handyman. I hope you click subscribe. I hope you keep following me. And I'll see you on the next video. You folks have a great day. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.